surrogate compensation and what you need to know. So this is something that I feel like is very difficult for most people to talk about, because when it comes to finances and money and how much you're getting paid for things, that's just kind of a taboo subject that you don't really discuss with just anybody. So I think that it's very important that you do your research and that you find a agency that is going to compensate you fairly for what you believe your time, effort, body, all those different factors are worth. But I'll tell you that this is a labor of love. It is not done out of any kind of expectation to get rich quick. You do this because a greater calling has been placed on your heart. And so you want to make sure that, yes, while you are being fairly compensated for what you're doing and what you're going through, you also don't want to price gouge your IPs. You don't want to, make super high expectations of what your compensation should be. You don't want to try and negotiate those things multiple times, like it's a one and done kind of thing. So when you sit down with your agency, and hopefully it's choice, when you sit down with your agency, you want to get that out on the table very first thing. Like, okay, this is what I think that, I should be compensated. And then they're going to tell you what they compensate based off of if you have experience or not. And so once that is discussed, it does not change again. And you should definitely be happy and comfortable with the compensation that you have agreed upon. With that being said, a lot of agencies will also give you compensation for different milestones, and some don't. So Choice focuses mainly on the parent being able to afford having a child. And so they don't overly price their services, which is great because, like I said, it's a labor of love. So the thing with that is that, whereas some other agencies might give you milestone bonuses, you don't get that with Choice, but you get top-notch customer service, if you will. You get that when you're here, your family kind of vibe. And so it's definitely something that you need to make sure that you're comfortable with before moving forward. So with Choice, you get a monthly allowance after your legalization documents and such have been finalized. And then you get that the first of the month until I think it's 3 months after the baby is born. So that's a really helpful allotment, because it helps with if you have to travel for doctor's appointments, or if you have to purchase things along the way, such as prenatals, or, just anything that might come up that is surrogate related. You can use your allowance to pay for those things instead of it coming directly out of your pocket. So another good thing is that a lot of the agencies have reimbursements, such as like when I travel, I have to pay for XYZ, whether that's my meals, my Ubers, just little things in between. And then you put it all onto like an expense report kind of, and you have to document what day it was, what it was for, and how much it was. And then they're pretty quick about it. They reimburse you fairly quickly after you submit that. So that's nice. So not everything is so quickly reimbursed. It just kind of depends on what it is and how many that they have to go through. So it can take a few days, but it is pretty quick in comparison to some of the other agencies. And also, with that being said, surrogacy on our part as a surrogate does not come out of pocket. So most everything is going to be paid for not by you. So you might have to, like I said, you might have to pay for a few things here and there, but they are instantly reimbursed pretty much. So that is definitely something that you have to take into consideration too before moving forward with any kind of journey. Yeah, you might have to pay something out of pocket, but it is reimbursed. So there's a bonus with that too.